Hey, it is Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader, and welcome to another Words of Wisdom Wednesday as we take another look at leadership insights from the Bible. Now, whether you're a person of faith or not, the leadership insights shared in these historical texts, stories encompassing thousands of years of human existence, give us an opportunity to learn from good leadership, bad leadership, poor leadership, and great leadership. So let's jump right into today's teaching, where we pick up our continuation looking at leadership lessons from the book of Exodus and the story of Moses. One day, after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. So here we are in chapter 2 of the book of Exodus, looking at Moses, who in the prior chapter had been born during a time when a Pharaoh that was insecure was concerned about his kingdom. So he put out a command that all male Hebrew children be killed, lest the Hebrew populace in the land of Egypt overtake the land and overthrow the kingdom. Now, if you recall from last week's teaching, we talked about the fact that Pharaoh's daughter actually found this young Hebrew boy being hidden in the bulrushes in the Red Sea to be protected from Pharaoh's henchmen that were out slaughtering thousands of infants, according to the book of Exodus. And she took him into her household, adopted him as her own child, and raised him as a prince of Egypt. Here we are in chapter 2 of Exodus, looking at Moses now grown up, and we see a leadership insight, and that's this. Leaders can and do make bad decisions. Now, in the case of Moses, it's a pretty bad decision to decide to murder a fellow Egyptian. But what Moses didn't understand, and what you and I need to understand from this lesson, is this. Leadership is always on display, even when you think no one is watching. And as you look into this particular passage and you read on, you'll notice in verses 13 and 14, it says, the very next day, when Moses went out, he saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one who was in the wrong, why are you hitting your fellow Hebrew? The man replied, who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian? Then Moses was afraid and thought, what I did must have been known. So Moses didn't realize, as many of us do, that bad decisions that we make, our bad choices are always on display, even when we think no one is watching our actions at the moment. Every choice we make has a consequence, and poor choices reflect poorly on you as a leader. So let's go on and continue the story, picking up in Exodus 2, verse 15. When Pharaoh heard of this, what had happened, that Moses had killed an Egyptian soldier, he tried to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in Midian, where he sat down by a well. Now, we know that leaders can and do make bad decisions, but here's something else we learn from today's insight in the Bible. You can run, but you can't hide from who you truly are. Now, Moses fled to escape punishment. He didn't want to die as a result of the crime that he had committed against the state of Egypt. But Moses, even though he fled to escape punishment, he couldn't escape his destiny and his calling as a leader that we'll discover later on in this story. And for you and I, the concept is the same. As a leader, we may run from our calling. We may run from what it is we've been put on this earth to do, but you and I as leaders, we can't hide who we truly are on the inside. And we see this show up in the next passage in Exodus 2. Now, a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flocks. Some shepherds came along and drove them away, but Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered the flock. So notice, not only can leaders make bad decisions, and often do, you can run, but you can't hide. Here's the leadership insight from the passage we just read. A leader's heart is always turned towards others. The calling of leadership demands that you and I as leaders protect other individuals from harm or injury. The very heart of leadership is a heart of service, valuing people and adding value to them and being committed to their welfare and their well-being. That's what we as leaders are called to do. We are called to serve other people. Leadership is service. It is protecting those who can't protect themselves, and it is looking out for the welfare and well-being of those who are following our lead. And I love this last passage that we're going to look at today, Exodus 2, verses 18 through 22. When the girls returned home to Reuel, their father, he asked them, "Why have you returned so early today?" They answered, "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." Again, there you see servants in action. He is serving these ladies. So the father asked, "Where is he?" Reuel asked his daughters. "Why did you leave him? Invite him to have something to eat." So Moses agreed to stay with the man who gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." So let's take a look at what we've learned so far and add one leadership insight to today's examination of leadership insights from the Bible. Leaders can and do make bad decisions. Understand, leadership is always on display, even when you think no one is watching. Our choices have consequences, and if we make poor choices, they reflect poorly on us as a leader. Now, we may run from our calling and what it is that we've been put on this earth to do, but we can't hide from who we truly are. It's going to show up because a leader's heart is always turned towards others. The heart of leadership is service. It demands that we protect others from harm or injury, and we lead them to a place of safety. Leaders are concerned with the welfare and well-being of others. And when we do that, as we saw in this last passage of scripture that we read today, good leadership is recognized, appreciated, valued, and rewarded. So for Moses, this meant a position of standing in Reuel's home, being united with one of his daughters and given the opportunity to help lead Reuel's family. Now, for you and I as leaders, what does that mean? It means that when we lead well, others are going to take notice, and we are going to get recognized. We are going to get rewarded, and oftentimes that leads to us being promoted and having a greater opportunity to lead. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this leadership insight from the Bible today. And if you want more leadership lessons, whether faith-based or not, let me encourage you to follow me on one of my two video channels. That's YouTube and Rumble. It's Be a Black Belt Leader is the channel at YouTube and Rumble. So pick your poison if you want to choose which of the two video channels you want to follow me on. And I have a weekly podcast on Spotify, as well as Google and iTunes and a number of other podcast channels. You can find me on Spotify. Black Belt Leadership is the channel there. Now, if you are a person of faith and you want more faith-based lessons like this, let me encourage you to go visit my website, beablackbeltleader.com. And in the courses section of my website, you'll find a free subscription series to 10 leadership lessons from the Bible. It's a series of 10 emails put together looking at 10 characters from the Bible throughout history and the leadership lessons we can learn from those individuals. And while you're at my website, beablackbeltleader.com, be sure and check out other free and paid content that's available, a number of courses and resources to help you in your personal growth and development journey. And visit the Contact Us page where you can follow me on all my social media. You can subscribe to my newsletter. You can subscribe to regular emails that I send out with leadership tips, tools, and insights, as well as follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and all the other social media channels that I spend time on. Hey, I want to say thanks for joining me for this Words of Wisdom Wednesday as we take a look at leadership insights from the Bible. I'm Dr. John Terry, the Black Belt Leader. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.